In 9.2, we are continuing to look at quadratic functions. A lot of this we've already covered, so this should be a majority of review for all of you. So we can determine when a quadratic function opens up or down, all based on the a value, or the leading coefficient. So as I previously mentioned, when a is a positive number, the graph is going to open up. And when a is a negative number, then the graph is going to open down. All right, just review. So looking at just a couple of examples, like this one right here, we can determine all of our coefficients. So the coefficient on x squared, which is our a value, is just going to be 1. Our coefficient on b, which is the coefficient on our x value, is going to be 2. And then finally, our constant c is going to be negative 5. So based on this, the only value that is important for determining which way it opens is our a value. And since our a value is going to be positive, that tells us that our graph is going to open up. Okay. I also introduced the formula for the axis of symmetry in the last lesson. The formula for axis of symmetry is x equals negative b over 2a. All right, so let's calculate this from an example. So our example here is y equals x squared plus 2 plus 8x plus 15. So our a value in this case is once again just going to be 1. Our b value is going to be 8. And our c value is going to be 15. So now, using our formula for the axis of symmetry, I would have x equals negative b, which would be negative 8, over 2 times a, which is 1. Okay, 2 times 1 is just 2, so that would give me negative 8 over 2. Negative 8 divided by 2 gives me negative 4. Okay, and that is going to be our axis of symmetry. X equals negative 4. All right, so I also previously mentioned how you can use the axis of symmetry formula to calculate your vertex. So as this says, and I'm actually missing one set of parentheses there, I can calculate my x value using the axis of symmetry formula. Then I'll have to substitute that value into my equation to calculate my y value, which is what they're designating here by f of negative b over 2a. So the first thing here, I'm going to calculate my axis of symmetry. So negative b over 2a. So looking at my quadratic here, my a value is going to be 1. My b value is going to be positive 8. And my c value is going to be 15. So negative b over 2a, that gives me negative 8 over 2 times 1. This one could be the same quadratic that I just did. Negative 8 over 2, because I'm going to get that x equals negative 4. So when making my vertex here, I know that my x value is going to be negative 4. But now I need to calculate my y value. So now I'm going to take negative 4, and I'm going to substitute that in for x in my original quadratic. So that would give me y equals negative 4 squared plus 8 times negative 4 plus 15. So I've got negative 4 squared, which is just 16, plus negative 4 times 8, which is negative 32, plus 15. So now, if I do the math, I've got 16 minus 32, which is negative 16, plus 15, which is going to give me y equals, negative 1. Okay, so that means that my vertex is going to be at negative 4 and negative 1. All right, so let's continue here. So now we can use those properties to help us graph a quadratic and do everything else. So first things first, let's find our a, b, and c value. So my a value, coefficient on x squared, is going to be negative 1. My b value, which is the coefficient on x, is going to be 10. And my c value, my constant, is going to be negative 23. So based on my a value is negative in this case. So that means that my quadratic is going to open down. Okay, I can also calculate my axis of symmetry. X equals negative b over 2a. So I've got negative 10 over 2 times negative 1, which gives me negative 10 over negative 2. Negative 10 divided by negative 2 is going to give me positive 5. So that just means that my axis of symmetry is at x equals 5. Okay? And I'm actually going to graph that into my graph here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I'm going to make a dashed line at about x equals 5. I kind of missed there. Okay, so now with my vertex, remember, my x value stays the same. So I've got 5, and I'm going to have to calculate my y value. So how I'll do that is I'll take my x value of 5, and I'm going to substitute it into my quadratic. So I've got y equals negative 5 squared plus 10 times 5 minus 23. 5 squared is 25 times negative 1. So I've got negative 25 plus 50 minus 23, which ultimately is going to give me, well, I've got 25, negative 25 plus 50, which is 25 minus 23, which is ultimately just going to give me 2. So that means that my vertex is going to be at 5 and positive 2. So I'm also going to graph that in right away. There's going to be my vertex. So now to calculate the rest of my values, I'm going to go ahead and make a table. So I've got my x and y values. Okay, I already know where my vertex is, so I'm going to be sure to make that the middle of my table. So I'm going to make 5 my middle point, and I know that my output's going to be 2. Now I'm going to go on both directions. So 2 to the left would give me 4 and 3. 2 to the right would give me 6 and 7. So substituting in 3, that would give me Negative 1 times 3 squared plus 10 times 3 minus 23. That's going to give me negative 9 plus 30 minus 23, which is going to give me negative 2. So at 3, I'm going to have negative 2, and I know that's going to be the same at 7. For 4, I would have negative 16 plus 40 minus 23, which is just going to give me 1, and then I have 2. So graphing this, I would have 3 and negative 2, which would be down there. I would have 4 and 1. Oops, not negative 1. And then on this direction, I would have the same because we found our axis of symmetry. So in the end, I'm going to have a quadratic that looks something like this. All right, so that right there is the entire process, and it's just building off of what we did in the last lesson. So example number 2 here, we will save this one for class, but please copy it down and give it a try on your own. All right, and it looks like that is it. So please bring any questions that you guys have to class. Make sure you guys copy down and try the second example on your own. Thanks for watching.